J.R. Richard, Mike Scott, and Roy Oswalt. Astros pitching legends all. Tonight, Roy could put his name atop the all-time Houston wins list, next to Joe Niekro with 144 career wins. 23 of Roy's wins have come against tonight's opponent, the Cincinnati Reds. Roy Oswalt and the Astros are next on Fox Sports Houston. Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Fox Sports Houston brings you Houston Astros baseball. Tonight, it's Game 2 of this three-game series. The Houston Astros meet the Cincinnati Reds. Good evening, everybody. Bill Brown and Jim Deshaies. The Reds won a tightly contested ball game last night, 6-4. Now we get to Game 2, and a lot of excitement over this one, J.D.
A chance for Roy Oswalt to make history, to tie Joe Niekro for first place on the all-time wins list for the Houston Astros. He goes up against the Cincinnati Reds, a club he has dominated in his career, 23-2 lifetime against Cincinnati, but he hasn't beaten them in his last 5 starts. We'll see where Roy ranks all-time on the Astros leader list. 143 wins now, just one behind Nuxie. Winning percentage among guys who have pitched 100 games or more. He is first, third in innings, second in strikeouts, third in starts. I don't know, you obviously can make a case that Roy Oswalt is the best pitcher in franchise history. If not, he's certainly on a very short list.
The Reds go with Johnny Cueto, and they are the best hitting team in the National League. We'll be back to see Game 2, see if Roy can climb atop that victory list alongside Joe Niekro in just a moment. Plate. Well, there's a certain buzz in the crowd tonight. Good Saturday night crowd here And, of course, there will be a concert afterwards, so that's part of the mix as the lineup cards are exchanged at home plate. And we've been joined by a contingent from Astros buddies, so there's been a lot going on. Billy Hatcher there has the lineup card for the Reds. High-scoring Reds who have now scored 475 runs this year. They lead the National League in runs scored. And they now are tied for first place with the St. Louis Cardinals by virtue of the Cardinals' loss today. Derek has joined us up here. He's 14 years old, and Jeff Blum's going to be joining us a little later, so we have all kinds of variety of guests.
Yeah, we have celebrities in the house. Derek's an Astro buddy. He won a contest to come up here and be a broadcaster today, right, Derek? You interviewed Jason Castro, right?
Yeah.
How'd that go?
It was good. Just kind of asking a couple of questions about, what does it feel like being called up from Round Rock, and what's his goals for this year, and it was a lot of fun.
Deal, man. Well, welcome.
Glad to have you with us, Derek. And we'll check the lineup for the Cincinnati Reds. The high-flying Reds, 10 games over 500 and playing well against the Astros. They won 15 of their last 17 from Houston. They have Brandon Phillips at second base, Orlando Cabrera shortstop, Joey Votto first base, Lance Nix left field, Jay Bruce right field, Drew Stubbs center field, Ramon Hernandez catcher, Paul Giannis shortstop, Johnny Cueto is the pitcher. Giannis should be at third base.
Suzuki gives us, our starting pitcher scouting report is brought to you by Suzuki. And if we take a look at Roy Oswalt tonight, 23-2 lifetime against the Cincinnati Reds. He has not beaten them since 2008, however. Career at Minute Maid Park, 77 and 33, 2.85 ERA. This year, he's pitched pretty well, 3.48 ERA, but just 2 wins in 10 decisions. Defensively, the Astros have Lee Bourne and Pence covering left, center, and right. Johnson, Sanchez, Keppinger, Berkman around the infield. And the aforementioned Jason Castro behind the plate.
Well, the Oswalt versus Cincinnati story has been ongoing since Roy first faced this club in relief May 14th, 2001. And he picked up his first major league win in Cincinnati with 3 2/3 innings of shutout relief. It's all amounted to 23 wins, 2 losses, and a 2.62 ERA starting with that game. Your League Leaders is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers, showing you the lowest ERAs for National League pitchers in the month of July. Adam Wainwright is lowest, then it's Josh Johnson, Johan Santana. Roy is at 0.904. Vicente Padilla is 5th. And now the first pitch of the game with Brandon Phillips stepping up. And Phillips, with a 285 average, has 13 homers, 33 runs batted in, was 0 for 4 with a walk in last night's game. Showing bunt and taking strike one with Brian Runge, the home plate umpire.
And Roy had to come out of his last start, got hit in the ankle with a sharp comebacker, and stayed in for a couple more innings after that. Left after 4 innings, ended up picking up a loss in that ball game, but talked to him a couple of days ago. He said he felt fine, all systems go.
Roy, 32 years old, moving inside on Phillips. Almost clipped him with that pitch. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count with 143 wins for Roy.
Good heater running in on Phillips. Moved the feet a little bit. Phillips has got good numbers against Roy.
Roy up and in, 2 balls and a strike. And Joe Niekro, with a club record 144 wins, was traded for the guy on my left.
That's right, September of 1985.
That was a pretty good deal for the Astros. Swing and a miss at a slider, and it's a 2-ball, 2-strike count. And certainly all kinds of trade rumors circulating around many major league clubs right now. On July 24th, with the trade deadline for non-waiver deals coming up in just 7 days. Phillips, 343 against Oswalt with 12 hits. Now it's a full count, Brandon. Leads the league in runs scored with 70.
Well, clearly the strategy here for Roy Oswalt against Brandon Phillips is to pound inside with the fastball. From the one slider away, but the fastball is running to the inside part of the plate, trying to jam him.
This fly ball goes to center field. Michael Bourne moving for it. 1 out for Roy Oswalt, who began his career against Cincinnati 15-0 with a 2.41 ERA. And that was his first loss in 06 at Cincinnati against the Reds. Now it's Orlando Cabrera. Cabrera, 257, 3 homers, 35 runs batted in, had 2 hits last night and scored a run. Smacks a line drive into center field. So Cabrera's right on that one, and the Reds get their first hit.
You just got a pretty good idea of Roy Oswalt's strategy here. Obviously, Phillips, as I mentioned, has very good numbers against him. So he has identified Phillips as a guy he's going to be a little more cautious with, certainly more so than Cabrera. So he worked Phillips hard in off the plate, threw him a lot of pitches, was willing to just pump one right down the heart of the plate to Cabrera. And Cabrera able to jump all over it.
Joey Votto had a big game last night with 3 hits, including a homer. 310, 24 homers, 65 driven in for Votto. Goes out of play. Joey tied Prince Fielder for the home run lead in the National League by hitting his 24th last night. He is 5th in runs batted in. Just having a marvelous year and continues to lead the National League both in on-base percentage and slugging percentage. He's 296 for his career against Roy. This one goes to left field. Carlos Lee looking up. And he can't do anything about it. An opposite field 2-run homer for Joey Votto gives the Reds a 2-0 first inning lead. Votto's second career long ball against Oswalt.
Well, Joey Votto plays in a very home run friendly ballpark. Minute Park is not necessarily a home run friendly ballpark, but it sure is cozy in left field, and Votto able to exploit it there off the bat. I thought this was just going to be a routine fly ball to left field. You see the angle of it as it leaves the bat. And as many games as I've watched in this ballpark, I still thought that ball's not going anywhere.
Yep. It was surprising. You're right. Uppercut swing. And the ball carried. So 2-0 Reds, and now it's Lance Nix. Another left-handed bat in the lineup for Dusty Baker. It's been Johnny Gomes in left field, but Nix gets his shot tonight. 243, 4 homers, 12 driven in. And Nix has tremendous numbers against Oswalt. 467 with 2 homers. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. The Reds have rolled up very big numbers as a team, especially against the Astros pitching staff this year. They've done damage. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Kind of funny looking at these uniforms. Wearing these throwback uniforms from the late 80s. So all the players are kind of blousing their pants and showing their stirrups. But in reality, nobody wore their pants that way in the 80s. That's okay. And most of them have the stirrups on backwards.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
Look at Roy. He wasn't sure, so he went 1 high, 1 low.
Yeah.
So that's a smart play there. He's half right. The high side goes in the back.
Fastball inside makes it 3-2. Well, you got a chance to mix with some fans tonight before the game, sign some autographs as some of the guys came back from the late 80s, JD.
Yeah, I was down there with Alex Trevino and Kevin Bass behind the press box, signing some autographs. A lot of these the replica jersey T-shirts were given away tonight. A lot of folks were coming through the line with those.
Ripped on a line to the right field corner. That's extra bases for Nix. Hatcher urging him to turn left, and he gets to second base with his 7th double of the season.
He has not been able to solve Lance Nix in his career, and it continues. Jumped on a changeup. He's fast. He is strong. He is built like a linebacker.
The Reds come out firing with 3 consecutive hits with 1 out. And it's Jay Bruce on a 4-game hitting streak. Bruce got one of the key hits in last night's game. There's ball 1 to Jay, the native of Beaumont, who had a sac fly in the 4th, and then the RBI double in the 8th inning, snapped a 4-4 tie. 262 for Jay with 10 homers, and he's driven in 39. Bruce taking that one, and the count goes to 2-0 on appeal to Mike Winters, umpiring at third. Roy Oswalt has talked about trying to join Joe Niekro in that select company. 144 career wins. He'd love to break that, of course, while in a Houston uniform. He's allowed 8 first inning runs, 7 earned in 20 starts. Grounded, and Berkman is there, tossing to Oswalt with a 3-1 out, number 2. Nix takes third.
Well, first inning really hasn't been problematic for Roy throughout his career, like it is for a lot of pitchers. And so he asked that Millsy adjust the rotation after the break so he would get 2 starts in this homestand to try to surpass that record of Joe Niekro's here at home. I would love to have picked up that win in Pittsburgh and have that under his belt and have 2 shots at it here, but obviously that did not happen. So he goes for the tie tonight, and still in an Astros uniform, would go for the record in 5 days.
Drew Stubbs with 13 homers has driven in 49 while hitting .242. Stubbs had a sac fly last night, going 0 for 3. The native of Texarkana, Texas, looks at ball 1. Oswalt lost here at Houston to Bronson Arroyo this April 29th. 4-2, giving up 3 runs in 7 innings, including a Votto 2-run homer. It's 2 balls, no strikes, so the Reds might feel that they have turned a corner against him after he had all those wins against them.
Well, the Reds have won 4 of Roy's last 5 starts against him. He's only got the 1 loss. He has not recorded a win against them since September of 08. It's fun to look back and looking at that win, his first major league win against the Reds back in 01. Barry Larkin, Pokey Reese. Pinch hit appearance by Deion Sanders in that ball game.
Takes us back. That pitch right there for strike 2 makes it 2-2. Billy Hatcher will take us back even further on the pregame show tomorrow. Astros Live at 12:30, talking about the 1990 Cincinnati Reds, the wire-to-wire winners and world champions that year. As Hatcher set a World Series record for batting average, going 9 for 12 in a 4-game World Series sweep. Late swing by Stubbs, who struck him out, but the Reds came up with 2 runs on 3 hits and left a man in the top of the first inning to grab a 2-0 lead for Johnny Cueto. The lineup card: Michael Bourne center field, Angel Sanchez shortstop, Lance Berkman first base, Hunter Pence with a big night last night in right field, Carlos Lee in left, Jeff Keppinger at second, Chris Johnson at third, Jason Casper the catcher, or Roy Oswalt.
Starting pitcher brought to you by Suzuki for the Reds tonight. It's 24-year-old Johnny Cueto, on the rise for sure. Just 24 years of age, but 9-2, really an emerging a star in this league, on a roll. His last 6, he's 3-1 with an ERA of 1.16. On the radar screen, that doesn't really mean anything. I just needed something else that started it on. Okay. I guess it means he's made 80 major league starts now, so he's not sneaking up on anybody. First on the scene back in 08. A couple of outstanding starts. Great starts with a major league career. And he scuffled a little bit, finished 9-14 that first year, 500 pitcher last year. Okay, he's the real deal. Good fastball, slider, and changeup.
1 ball, 1 strike to Michael Bourne, a .251 hitter with 1 homer, 22 driven in. And this one in the air to right field. Jay Bruce back to right center. 1 out for Cueto, who is 0-4 against the Astros.
Take a look at the Reds defensively. The outfield of Nick Stubbs and Bruce provides pretty good coverage and a big arm, especially in right field. Phillips, Giannis, Cairo, and Votto. That's not right.
No, Giannis is at
Giannis
third.
is at third. And Cabrera is at short.
That's right.
I think for these throwback games, they had to put guys' names on the back of the uniform that wore the uniform. Like, this could be Rafael Ramirez sitting right here.
Well, Rafi would like a .327 batting average, that's for certain. Angel Sanchez.
Last week, Angel hitting better than 400.
.327 in the month of July, and a chance to settle in at shortstop, starting for the 13th time in the last 14 games at that position. And he got jammed on that one, fouling it away, but Sanchez looked good again last night, 2 for 4 at the plate. Go back for another stick. Cueto has tonsillitis, and the Reds were thinking about sending Sam LeCure from Louisville to Houston to be ready to pitch tonight instead of Cueto if Johnny couldn't go. They thought it was the flu a few hours ago. He's never had his tonsils removed, so now they think it's tonsillitis. And up and in, so we'll keep an eye on him as far as possible physical effects of that malady. 2 balls, 2 strikes. But he has certainly had a good season. 9-2 with a 3.39 ERA. Grounded in the hole at short, backhanded. Cabrera with a jump throw to first, dug out by Votto. Very nice play for out number 2.
Yeah, pretty slick on both ends there. Cabrera with a quick move and a good strong throw and a nice pick by Votto. I'm not so sure that he needed to employ this little jump move. I think he could have planted on his back foot, but at the end of the day, he got his man. A little help from Votto.
Some style points. Well, you're right. May not have been a need for that. Now Lance Berkman.
Yeah, I'm not implying he did it to be stylish or that he was being a hot dog. I just think he maybe thought he didn't have as much time as he really did.
Right. Berkman looks at ball 1. 242 for Lance. 12 homers. 44 driven in. And he's going through a dry spell right now. It's 2-0. The Reds usually don't see him in that kind of a state. 1 for 4 in last night's game, but 1 for 18 on the road trip. And he has some of the best numbers of all time against the Cincinnati club. In fact, this combination of Berkman and Oswalt has been very dynamic when the Astros have played the Reds over the years. 2 balls and a strike. Cueto facing the Astros for the first time this year. Throws a strike to even the count at 2-2. Berkman has 2 career homers off Cueto. 5 hits and 13 at bats. This is the 5th time Cueto has faced Oswalt. And it's 3-2. And of course, Cueto has not beaten the Astros, period, but has pitched well in a couple of no decisions when facing Roy. Notably one last year in Cincinnati. 7 innings, 1 run. And he got out of there when the game was tied 1-1. Berkman homered off him in that. This time he walks. A 2-out walk gets Hunter Pence to the plate. What a night he had last night. 4 hits, including a homer. He drove in 3. A mad dash, tagging up at third on a pop-up to Brandon Phillips in shallow right center and scored a key run in that game.
He stole a bag and He made the final out of the game, but he hit that ball hard, too. Hit a line drive to center field. See the winning percentage leaders in the National League. Johnny Cueto just behind Ubaldo Jimenez.
Well, Pence has hit .353 in his last 13 games. Here's strike one to Hunter. He has 6 hits and 20 career at-bats against the right-hander who's facing him now for a .300 average for Hunter. Batting average has climbed in July. He's hit .303 this month. 1-1. Chris Welsh, who does the analyst work for a lot of the Reds television games, is next door tonight, and he observed that Johnny Cueto has backed off a little bit on his velocity. He used to be, Chris says, kind of more of a radar gun watcher, and he's now hitting his spots better, throwing more around 91, previously more around 96. Hunter puts it in the air. Lance nicks over. And just short of the warning track. He handles out number 3. After 1, the Reds lead it 2-0.
I'd like to recognize Buckaloo Chevrolet for their support of the Conroe Area Little League. For more information on Chevy's commitment to youth baseball programs, go to ChevyTexasBaseball.com. Bart Ennis with you out in the Crawford boxes, along with a very special guest, Chris Heisler, who is here with the honor flag, a flag that symbolizes the bravery and courage of those who have fallen in active combat all over the world and protect our country. Chris, talk a little bit about the honor flag, its origins, and why it's here today.
Well, the flag started here in Texas. It was the same flag that flew over the state capitol during the 9/11 attacks, made its way to Ground Zero and flew during the recovery efforts. A Port Authority spouse that survived her husband said, we got to keep this flag flying in honor of all those who served. So since then, it's been all over the world, Iraq, Afghanistan, so many times in our country for fallen firefighters and police officers. You can circle the earth almost 4 times with the number of miles this one flag has on it.
And what type of response does it generate when it travels around?
You know, we always like to tell people we manufacture goosebumps. We bring out that spirit of patriotism and pride that you had immediately after 9/11, and we keep that spirit of patriotism alive. And this one special flag has got the energy to do it. It's been amazing.
Well, that's a great effort, Chris. We appreciate you being with us. And this is also sponsored by Chevrolet, correct?
Chevrolet has been incredible with us. They took us on a tour all over Texas, and this tour has been immensely successful, thanks for Chevrolet. And all the incredible help and effort they've given us brought us here to the ballpark today, and we're wrapping the tour up today. This is the last stop in Texas.
Well, it's certainly an honor for us to have the honor flag here at Minute Maid today. Chris, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Deep drive to left field, and there's a home run trot of Ramon Hernandez. It's 3-0 Reds as Hernandez unloads his 4th home run of the season. And he had 2 bombs in one game at Cincinnati against the Astros back on May 29th.
And Hernandez is a guy who's pretty adept at driving the ball the other way, but he turned on this one. My goodness, this has not started well at all. Two-spot in the first single home run and then a double, and Roy was able to strand Nix after that one-out double. The second inning gets off to a rough start, tries to hit the outside corner with a two-seam fastball that drifts back over the plate. No doubt about it.
That's strike one to Paul Janisch, the Houston native, Cy Creek High School and Rice University. Reds have the big bats out tonight with a couple of bombs. And Janisch takes that one. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
Yeah, Roy has a tendency from time to time to fall off to the right side. That front shoulder opens up, and that's what's going to cause that fastball to drift when he's trying to go down and away.
It's 1-2 with Johnny Cueto on deck. The Reds have been a prolific run-scoring team this season. Pull foul on an on-speed pitch.
Talk about the fastball. The other thing that'll happen on the breaking pitch, they won't get that good downward movement on that pitch either. It'll just kind of hover over the inside part of the plate to the right-handed hitters.
Now as you start looking. Second strikeout for Oswalt.
That time he kept his front side closed and just drove that fastball knee-high in the outside corner. That one usually works pretty good.
.24-year-old Johnny Cueto has 5 hits and 32 at-bats for a .156 average. He's knocked in a couple. Stands him up, and it's strike one to Cueto. Cueto, one of 7 pitchers 27 or younger who have made starts for the Reds this year. Catcher to his right.
Casey Candell.
Does kind of remind you of Casey. Moving around at second base, and he was a good second baseman. 2 outs.
Yeah, and for all his goofiness, he's a very smart player.
Yeah.
He's a smart guy. He's a very smart baseball player.
Sure was. Just fundamentally sound. All fun to be around. 2 outs now, and it's Brandon Phillips taking a little extra time so Cueto can get back and get something of a rest. Phillips may also take a pitch to aid in that respect. And Phillips worked the count full his first time up before hitting a fly ball to center field. Brandon, 29 years old, from Raleigh, North Carolina. He was the Reds club MVP last year with 20 homers, 98 runs batted in. And kind of a shallow award because the ball club was 78 and 84.
Continue to work him in. You see the pitch tracker brought to you by Jexa Energy. That pitch just a little bit up and in.
Phillips puts this one in the air and deeper to center field. But Michael Bourne still gets under it for the 3rd out. Hernandez home run makes it 3-0 Cincinnati in the second.
back to Minute Maid Park. Hey, join the Astros for Faith and Family Night on Saturday, July 31st. After the 6:05 game against the Brewers, stick around for the event, including a player testimony by Lance Berkman and a concert with Jaws and Clay. Tickets start at just $7 for this event. Go to Astros.com to get those tickets. Brownie, back to you.
Special thrill, Bart, and you see that Faith and Family Night coming up next Saturday. But right here tonight, on this Saturday, we have Jeff Blum modeling the retro uniform. Looking good in that thing, Blummer.
I can't help that.
Well,
I thought it was JD night.
It is
That's
JD
why we have
night.
these things on, don't we?
We're talking about the stirrups.
These things are horrendous. I mean, it's like standing on an extension cord the whole game.
It does take you back. Maybe back further than you want to go.
Yeah. Well, of course, me and Mueller, we get all the comments about, is this the uniform we wore when we broke in?
Was anybody wearing stirrups when you broke in?
Not when I broke. Well, yeah, they didn't brought. I think
2-in-1
the 2-in-1s were
yeah.
the new thing. Yeah.
Carlos took a shot like the inside of the left knee. Now, hey, Lucero's coming out. Well, you're out with an injury right now, but this speaks to the fact that of all the bumps and bruises that guys go through, they have to play with that stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's bumps and bruises. You play 162 games. I guarantee you maybe play 4 or 5, 100%. But you figure with that shin guard he's got on, he might be pretty well covered.
How's your elbow coming along?
It's great. I actually saw Dr. Melhoff earlier this afternoon and told him that I had been throwing a little bit and took some swings in the cage off a tee, and he gave me a week, one more week, and I'll be game ready. So I'm looking forward to that.
And just strap it on, go get him, or rehab?
No, it'll be a rehab, I'm sure.
Hopper to third. Yanish. One out. Well, how long do you think it might take you on rehab? 4 or 5 games?
Oh, no. Come on, Brownie. No. I was thinking more like 4 or 5 ABs and get back and do it for real.
That's good.
I can't waste too many ABs down there.
Yeah. Well, this deep into the season, you've had a fair amount of playing time this year. That helps a little bit, don't you think?
Yeah. I mean, fortunately and unfortunately, you get in there with some injuries and things like that. But, yeah, been around long enough that I think I have a feel for how I'm going to be.
How about Jeff Kepinger's season as he bats right now?
I love it. I think it's great. He's before he got here, he's one of those journeyman type guys, getting traded left and right, and played quite a bit of shortstop with Cincinnati. As he grounds out the short, I hope you're outgoing. But to see him make a home for himself here in Houston, getting that opportunity. Kaz didn't get off to a great start. Kepi, obviously, like myself, was going to play all over the infield, but took complete advantage of that opportunity. It's fun to watch him do it and do it on a daily basis, man. He's doing a great job.
Mm-hmm. Now one of the new guys, Chris Johnson. Chris on a 7-game hitting streak, 308, 2 homers. Good numbers for him. What do you see in him, Jeff?
I was going to say he's got pretty good plate discipline.
That's the key to this whole gig up here, Blummer. You always hesitate to beat.
Pace yourself.
Or qualify every statement.
Well done.
Oh, man. No, he's a good kid. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He's got a unique disposition about him. He doesn't take too many things too serious, and I think that's a great thing for this game. He's shown a lot of humility, that doesn't freak out too often, and another guy taking advantage of his opportunity given our situation.
Roller goes foul. Yeah, he showed off his power in the series in Chicago, and strong arm at third base. Does he come to you and ask you anything at all?
Yeah, we had a conversation earlier. He was having he was having some trouble with those swinging bunts, and the coaches had talked to him. And so we talked a little bit about how to solve that type of situation, and. So he's good at asking questions, just like most of these kids are.
3-0 Reds after 2. 3-0 Cincinnati. There's strike one for Roy Oswalt here in the third inning. Cabrera singled and rode home on the Votto 2-run homer in the first. And Roy Oswalt has been such a battler against this club. I asked Jeff Blum about playing in these games against the Reds as Cabrera takes one to right field for a hit. A tough start, though, for Roy. We have not seen this much for him against this club, Jeff.
No, it was kind of strange seeing the balls hit that hard off him. You know, and normally he's doing a pretty good job of shutting down the Reds, but I haven't had a chance. You know, I was in the dugout, so I didn't see where the location of some of these pitches were, but they're definitely taking advantage of some of them.
Oh, they do have a good lineup.
Hernandez juiced that ball to left field.
Yeah, in a hurry.
Votto's was a Crawford box. And even with that, when it left the bat, it didn't look like he hit it that well.
Yeah, from down in the dugout, it didn't look like
that. It looked like it was just a lazy fly ball.
Votto, though, a strong candidate at this early point for MVP. Jeff, he really leaves nothing to be desired in his play, does he?
No, he's real good. Very disciplined to plate, and saw that ball going to the Crawford box. He obviously has power to all fields.
He lunged at one, and Roy can make a guy look sick, man.
Is that plate discipline comment again?
I mean, I'm gonna keep saying it for the Reds. I'm gonna take it back against us.
I think Roy right now is searching a little bit, because he has been so good this year. He hasn't been hit around like this, and he finds himself in a position where he's got to find a plan B or do something to upset the timing of these Reds hitters.
Soft line drive, yeah. He was reaching for it and found a landing zone for a single for Joey Votto on an 0-2 pitch.
Well, and, JD, pitching in the big leagues, I mean, you got a game plan. You got a game plan that you're going with, and the team makes the adjustment. It's, how fast can Roy make the adjustment and get back to these guys?
Yeah, and this just speaks to how good a hitter he is, the eye-hand coordination to be able to stay back and go down and get that ball.
Especially after that swing before.
Yeah, not a lot of guys are that good.
Lance Nix looks like he ought to be knocking somebody over with that build and nice compact swing too, Blummer.
Yeah, another reason not to be a catcher with this guy at the plate.
They strike one to Nix. That's what I like about baseball, the different body builds. You don't have to be sculptured to play this sport and play it well.
Oh, yeah, former teammate David Wells was living proof of that.
Rich Garces, El Guapo.
Oh, yeah. I believe it.
We were talking about Casey Candell before you got up here, too.
Mm-hmm.
A good example of a small guy who was an excellent player.
And a great character. Good guy to have on a ball club.
Speaking of Casey, you and Casey, former Expos, and now Andre Dawson goes into the Hall of Fame tomorrow as an Expo. He wanted to go in as a Cub, but he was with the Expos a lot longer. Line drive. Smacked into right center field. A couple of runs are going to score on this one, and Nix has ripped another one. A 2-run double this time for Nix, second double of the game. That gives him 14 runs batted in and makes it 5-0.
We've seen Nix a lot over the years. When he first came up, I thought he was going to be a star. You see guys when he's hot, and he's such a good athlete and he's so strong. Obviously, he hasn't turned out to be that kind of a player, but he's had a nice, career. But for whatever reason, he sees Roy really well. He's got great numbers against Roy and 2 doubles already tonight. And he smothered that ball.
Now 5-0, and it's Jay Bruce. There's strike one. So apparently, Hall of Fame talks with the player and does a little convincing, and Dawson decides to go in as an Expo, and some busloads of people are coming down from Montreal for the ceremony. It's really a neat time, and I know you spent your time up there and enjoyed it so much. Sad that they lost a team, but at least they can celebrate this moment anyway.
Yeah, and Andre was a great ball player, but I think he should take a little pride in being the first and only Expo.
Gary Carter's in as an Expo.
Yeah. Did he go in as an Expo?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
So the second guy in the last Expo, obviously, but he had a phenomenal career. It's good to see him go in.
We kind of miss those trips to Montreal.
You know what? Living in Montreal was interesting, to say the least, but going on road trips was definitely a pretty good time to go up there for 3 or 4 days and have your fun and get on out of there.
Carlos Lee in left center. 1 out.
This Day in Astros history is brought to you by the MD Anderson Cancer Center, making cancer history. July 24th, 1994. Jeff Bagwell homered twice. Craig Biggio hit a grand slam, and the Astros beat the Pirates 13-1 in the Astrodome. Big day for Baggy and Biggio. That couldn't have been too far from when Jeff got hurt.
That's true.
Look at it.
Mid-August.
The strike shortened season.
Mm-hmm. And the Expos, I think, were in first place in the East.
That's right. That helped kill that franchise.
Good point. Stubbs with a drive to right. Backs up Hunter Pence. Tag at second base by Nix. That's a long throw from there, and he'll make it easily. 2 outs. Plummer, speaking of Baggy, what have you seen since he took over as the hitting coach that might have surprised you?
I think it's good having Baggy in there just because he isn't that far removed from the game. He's still, he was only 5 years out, obviously had a stellar career and was a phenomenal teammate. But I think he's bringing some of that, that I don't know how to say it. It's just that he understands how hard the game is still. He hasn't taken that I forgot how hard it was pill and told everybody to do what and do this and look for that and how to trick the game and whatnot. Baggy's just brought in that, if you've got a good swing today, use it. If you've got a bad swing today, we'll see what we can do with it. He's just a day-to-day guy. He's not a guy that's going to go in there and mechanically change everything and or give you overly.
By Berkman, and another run scores to make it 6-0 on the ground ball double. Or is it? Let's see. Hunter Pence's throw to second. It is not.
How about that?
Red Rover, let Ramon come over. Whoa. Sanchez with a tag on the throw from Pence. And it, in fact, is an RBI single by Hernandez. As Hunter gets another outfield assist. Whoa.
Sniper.
Watch out for that line dart.
And it's 6-0.
A progressive fan of the game, and today was the day that the Astros and Minute Maid announced the 25 winners of the Grand Slam for Youth Baseball Scholarships. $2,500 per kid to some local high school kids making their way to college, and they've done all the necessary things to qualify for this scholarship. I have one of the winners and Fred Arnold from Minute Maid. And first, let's talk to Hannah Gibson from Pearland High School. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How'd you feel when you knew you won this scholarship?
I was very happy. Very, very happy.
As happy as your parents?
Most likely, yes.
So difficult to qualify, or how did that process go?
Yeah, it was quite difficult, really, because I did a lot of softball and kickball through Justin Robinson Community Center, Houston Parks Recreation Department. So with their help, for me going through that, I was very beneficial getting one of the scholarships.
Where are you going to school?
I'm going to Texas State University in St. Marcus, Texas.
Well, good luck there. Fred Arnold, Minute Maid, this is a great program. You've helped a lot of families through the years, haven't you?
Yeah, it's a 6-year, Bart, and we've given out 101 scholarships in 6 years. And Hannah Gibson is one of 25 tonight. Their family and friends, and we got them all behind me here, and we're just having a great time celebrating the Grand Slam for youth baseball.
And families that want to get in on this for next year, go to the website, correct?
Go to the website, www.gsfyb.com, and when opening day next year, that's when we'll start taking applications. High school seniors going to be accepted into college or university, and they've had to have played baseball or softball, some organized baseball or softball, sometime in their life. And we'd like to as many applicants as we can get.
All right. Well, Hannah, congratulations. You're our progressive fan of the game, and you represent the group, so you're a smart group of kids. I guess 25 of you can figure out how to divvy up one bag full of stuff, right?
Yes, sir.
A lot of happy kids and a lot of happy parents, Brownie, with that $2,500.
Hey, you gave it to her. No divvying necessary. It's hers. Thanks, Bart. Castro hit the ball pretty well. Jeff Blum, he runs pretty well for a catcher.
Extremely well. Yeah, he's very talented.
Phillips almost got caught being a little too nonchalant there.
You know, so you take for granted, you think the catcher's running instead of the actual player.
Now Roy Oswalt trailing 6-0. And it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. A week to go before the non-waiver trade deadline. Is this kind of an unsettling time for any player in the clubhouse, let alone Roy?
Well, I mean, yeah, there's a certain number of ball players that, you know, kind of expect or know or have been in that situation before the trade deadline. And there's always rumors. I mean, with the internet and media these days, I mean, there's always somebody saying something crazy. But, you know, there's a handful of guys that expect it to happen, and it's not fun. I mean, especially when your team's not doing well and you see that other teams are looking to fill needs that they need going down the stretch, and you know you might be one of those guys. It's kind of tough sometimes to go out there and get locked into a ball game knowing what could happen off the field.
Michael Bourne, you saw the Jack-in-the-Box standings for the Astros all-time win leaders. And there's strike one to Michael, and Roy, of course, hoping to join Joe Niekro. And that would require quite a turnaround in this game tonight. 1-ball, 1-strike, so who knows? It may be his last start. He may have many more starts, and that's the uncertainty part we're talking about. As far as the Astros go, and Roy, he would be scheduled to have one more start before that deadline.
Well, it'd be nice to see him tie it or go ahead of it,
yeah.
Of the wins record if something were to happen, just so he could leave his mark, statistically on this franchise as much as he's done on and off the field for him.
Yeah, that's a sort of a lifetime achievement award, and this franchise will be 50 years old next year, so that speaks to a lot of good pitching over the years. But you know, the 144 wins. Check around with the other clubs who have been around for 50 years or more. For some reason, with the Astros, that's kind of a surprisingly low total, just the way it's worked out, and it speaks to how difficult it is to win that many games.
Yeah, and I mean, a team that breaks into the league in 62. I mean, free agency was pretty quick around the corner for them. So I mean, they didn't have a chance to lock up too many players and show that loyalty to those guys without risking the free agent market so early in the franchise's history.
Yeah, that does a lot of explaining about players moving on, and a guy like Larry Dierker started so young, but then he threw a lot of pitches. That's strike 3 call, and that's number 3 as Michael Bourne looks back at the home plate umpire, and it's 6-0 Reds. 6-0 Cincinnati, and we go to the fourth inning with Jeff Blum. Jim DeShay's here as always. Paul Yanish, but I got to tell you, JD's been he's been enjoying these Saturday nights so much because Jeff Bagwell's been with us for the last several Saturday nights, and JD's thinking that he might be able to make himself expendable on Saturday nights if we keep bringing players up there.
Just getting ready to bail, and then Baggy took the bailed on us. He went down in the dugout. He's kidding me. We groomed him. We trained him. He was all ready. And bang, he bailed on him.
He fled the booth, yeah. Fly ball to right field for Hunter Pence. One count.
Sundays are family days at Minute Maid Park. Spend time together at the ballpark for Family Sundays, presented by Minute Maid and Kroger. Check out the free Kids Fun Zone in Union Station lobby. That's available from 11:30 to 1:30. It's for kids 14 years of age and under. Plus, kids can run the bases after the ball game. Tickets, details, information, and lots of good stuff available at Astros.com.
Family Sundays. Tomorrow's game, of course, the next opportunity for you to bring the family out. There's strike one to Johnny Cueto. Jeff Blum, we were talking about the 144 wins being the Astros club record. Thinking down over the years, too, it's been tough from time to time for starting pitchers to get wins. They normally have to win a nice 3-2 ball game in Houston baseball down through the years, so you've got to be a pretty good pitcher to win a lot of those.
Yeah, exactly. And battling in the NL Central. I mean, not too many teams are going to go out and win 105 games. So that limits your pitchers' wins and losses and stuff like that. And getting beat on that often, you have to win those close ones. You got to have a lot of luck on your side. But Roy's got 10 years in. He's averaging like 14.5 wins. That's pretty good.
That is a good average. Certainly is.
Yeah, of course, wins is so much tied to the fortunes of the ball club. It's hard to win games on a bad club. Roy was fortunate in that he pitched on some very good teams here. Those playoff teams in the middle of the decade. The last couple of years it hasn't been so good. And that's part of it, right? You take the good with the bad.
I bet it is.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Brandon Phillips has hit 2 fly balls to center field. There's strike one. When do the dog days begin for you?
April 15th. No, I'm just kidding. No, the dog days are usually right after the All-Star break because you get that. You're going strong. You get to that halfway point. Your body starts to feel it a little bit, and things start to lag, and then you get that 4-day break, and you feel refreshed, and you get back, and you got another half to go, and it's quite a haul.
6-0 Reds in the fourth. To the plate for him. He needs to break up.
Just like that.
Sanchez with a 7-game hitting streak now, and he smacked one into the corner for his 4th double of the year.
All you got to do is ask nicely, right?
Usually not that easy, but this guy's been pretty impressive so far.
No, he's done a great job, yeah.
So, been around the order one time. This is the first hit. Well, you know, what's your take on Cueto, and what might the discussion in the dugout be right now? What are the hitters saying to each other about Cueto? How much conversation goes on about what's he throwing you? What's it? You know, give us a feel for that.
Yeah, there's quite a bit going on. You know, usually when I'm playing in a ball game, I watch to see how they pitch Lance, just to see what they're trying to do to him, because you know he's got obviously pop and good at driving runners in. So I want to see how, you know, if they're trying to avoid him at all, or if they're trying to get him to chase pitches and whatnot. But yeah, there's a lot of talk. And watching the game already so far, it looks like Johnny's been throwing a lot of fastballs. He's been pretty aggressive with it and throwing strikes with it and getting ahead in the count, which is key. But Lance has worked himself into a couple of hitters counts with his 2-0 in the last AB. He was up 2-0, 3-2, 3-1, and managed to walk.
Breakdown, fastball, breaking pitch off speed pitch. It's fastball, slider, changeup for Cueto. What we've seen time and time again with Lance, even you know, he's having an off year and he's really scuffling lately, but the team's still very cautious with him, and so even when he's in a funk, he can still work his walks.
And I think that's, you know, that's something that most people don't realize, is that, you know, the pitchers don't turn around and look at the scoreboard and pitch to the numbers that are on the scoreboard. They're still pitching to the guy that wears number 17.
Good point.
And the guy that's wearing number 45. So, I mean, it's not, those guys, if they're getting them out, they're not going to change their system at all.
Cueto's done a little bit better each time through the lineup so far this year.
So you might go into a game with an idea about, you know, you watch video and you have an idea about what a guy might try to do to get you out based on video, either your personal experience with him or video against other, say, left-handed hitters. But then over the course of the game, you might say, well, he's throwing first pitch fastball, a bunt. I'm going to go sit on a heater here.
Open to left, Nix is over, and right there at the base of the scoreboard wall.
Yeah, you definitely draw from past experience against a guy, and then I like to see what he's done recently. What he's been most effective with. If he's had a couple of good starts leading up to our game, I like to see what he's done against some of those left-handed hitters.
So, you know, you've been around the game a long time now. Has the information that's available changed a lot, or has it been there since you broke in with all the video and the numbers that they give you? I mean, it seems to me like it's just amazing how much stuff is out there now.
Yeah, it seems like in the last 5 or 6 years, it's jumped by leaps and bounds with a lot of these programs that they've got now, and a lot of the, you know, how they can edit the video. You know, back in the good old days, we used to just go and watch videotape. It took a while to get through fast forwarding and rewinding and things like that. So, you know, with the invention of the DVD and recording all that kind of stuff and having it at your fingertips down in the clubhouse, as far as like computers and the database they have down there, it's so much more available and more effective. But Jeff Bagwell has we have a notebook down there that he brings out, and it's got statistics and tendencies and things like that too.
So is there, in terms of the statistics for a starting pitcher, is there something you really look at? Do you look at percentage of fastballs on first pitch, or?
Oh, yeah, all the counts. I mean, 0-0 to 3-2, they've got every count. And they just threw up there right there the number of percentages and stuff like that. They've got, each count, each percentage of what pitch they're throwing and which pitches they're throwing. They even have it down to the location in the zone and out of the zone.
And do you, so you'll take that and get a general picture of a guy, or will you actually have an at-bat where you step out and go, okay, it's 2-2, and he throws his changeup here about half the time, so I'm going to respect that changeup?
It's funny you say it, because last year, I remember specifically because I actually hit a home run, which was a long time ago. We were facing, he's a right-handed starter, pretty good, Gallardo, Giovanni Gallardo for the Milwaukee Brewers, and they sent in some information and it said on a 1-1 count he throws, a changeup. I think it was something crazy, like 75-80% of the time to left-handed hitters. And
so that's kind of worth sitting on one.
And I did, and I got a base hit, and then got to a 1-1 count my next AB, and I said, he's not going to throw the same pitch again. And sure enough, he didn't. He mixed it up, threw me a fastball, and I took him deep. So it's kind of fun to mess with those guys a little bit, but you got to put a lot of faith in those things. And sometimes it works, sometimes it don't.
Yeah, well, and that's the challenge for the guy out there on the bump is because predictability, especially now with all the information that's out there, predictability is very dangerous for a pitcher.
Would you expect generally with the 6-0 lead for Cueto to be throwing more fastballs tonight at this point than he normally would?
Yeah, because he's got a good one. You know, it'd be one thing if he was just, you know, chucking 87 in there down the middle of the plate, but he's so effective with as hard as he throws the ball, with as much movement as he has, and being able to locate it like that, you know, he's been pretty effective with it, so I don't see him deviating at all.
Well, they got Carlos to swing at that high heater, and Hunter swung at one and fouled it off. So he knows he's got some pretty big strike zones he's working to here.
And then he does that.
Yeah.
Just paints. But I'm with Carlos. That was definitely a ball.
Yeah, look at this.
Oh, see, those are pitcher's pitches.
That's right on the black.
See what we get going on?
It's real close.
Well, I remember facing Glavin, Maddox, Smoltz, and those guys. That was a totally different zone.
Well, you know, you speak about those guys, but here's Hernandez getting out of the catcher's box the way the Braves catchers used to for those pitchers you talked about.
Yeah, I mean, you got to take advantage of what they give you.
Did you ever talk to Braves hitters back in the day? Did they ever agree with it? Yeah, it's crazy what these guys are getting.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's some hitter bonding around the league, you know.
There is. I mean, and I was fortunate enough to play with Greg Maddox in San Diego, so you know, I had my chance to give him a hard time, and I was grilling him on all the secrets. I was asking him, you know, all the rumors about him, you know, leaving up the ball and, you know, doing things like that, but he never gave in. So I have no idea what he was doing.
Cueto takes care of Lee's grounder, and it's no runs after a leadoff double and through 4, 6-0 Reds. Jumped on Roy Oswalt with 2 in the first, another run in the second, and then 3 in the third inning. Now we have the home plate umpire returning to his station, Brian Runge, and Orlando Cabrera ready for the 5th inning. Cabrera's 2 for 2 and has scored 2 runs. Very good number 2 hitter. You know, Blummer, they picked him up after the first of the year as a free agent signing, and he gets his 3rd hit. Just kind of wondering if maybe the Astros might be doing that next year sometimes when you're looking to make moves like that. We'll get back into that in a moment. Houston Astros baseball on Fox Sports Houston is brought to you by your Texas Chevy dealers, by AT&T, by your Texas Ford dealers, by 5 Hour Energy, and by Gullo Ford and Gullo Toyota. Cabrera 3 for 3, and he's aboard now here in the 5th inning for Joey Votto. Votto with a 2-run homer, a single, a 2-run scored, and the throw goes over to first. But sometimes when you're changing the mix on a club and maybe trying to get a little bit younger, these days shopping for a general manager can bring some bargain basement prices after the first of the year. So The Reds got a great one. It appears with the signing of Cabrera at shortstop. He's really a good stabilizer on the club.
Yeah, he's floated around quite a bit, though. But every team it seems he's playing for is doing well, winning, and getting some playoff time. So, there's something to be said for picking up guys like that. And it's kind of weird that the market gets pushed down like that on guys like that. But fortunately for Cincinnati, they took advantage of it and are winning ball games with him.
Mm-hmm. You with Cabrera in Montreal?
He is actually the reason I made it to the major leagues. On August 8th, I believe, he was trying to beat out of a ground ball to first base in Montreal and took a jump at it and broke his ankle.
Oh, okay.
And the next day, I was called up.
You were down with the Ottawa Lynx?
I was a Lynx. Yes, I was. And I took a 2-hour train ride over from Ottawa to Montreal, and here we are.
Wow. What year was that?
99.
One hopper here. Ooh, crazy hop for Sanchez and a good feed. And Kepler with a strong relay to first. You don't get too many balls like that at shortstop, do you, Jeff?
No, some of those slivers off the end of the bat, those are usually coming down to third base and make it really tough. There's so much movement on these balls. Yeah, you have no idea which way they're going to break.
Rafi Ramirez to Casey Candell to Glenn Davis.
We're into the retro thing tonight. And with 2 outs, it's Lance Nix.
Danny Darwin on the mound.
Nix with a pair of doubles has driven in 2, taking ball 1 there.
Got to find a solution for Mr. Nix here. So how about let's talk about a little middle infield play. How active are you in the middle of the diamond, reacting to the pitch and the selection? How much are you going to move based on the hitter and the count, things of that nature?
It has a lot to do with it. It's always good too when your pitcher's hitting his spots and making good pitches. It makes it a little bit easier to guess a little bit or maybe cheat one way or the other. But it helps out a lot. You get to see everything. That's the beauty of it. At third base, you kind of like pick a spot, sit down, and hope to goodness that he hits it, slow enough to where I can make a play on it, and not have to, lay out or, knock it down, taking it off the chest. But up the middle, it's a lot more fun because you can make that adjustment, or if the guy's swinging the bat well, or if the guy doesn't have the velocity that he normally does and he's pitching differently, you can adjust off that. It's a lot easier and a lot more fun to look in there and be on the same page with a guy like Jason Castro and Royals, and see what those guys are doing and kind of play off of them. And even some of the pitchers will turn around and give you an idea of which way they're going to try and pitch a guy too.
2-out walk puts Nix on for Bruce. Bruce is 0 for 2. Well, it's been a difficult season, obviously, in the win column for the Astros. How's everything been in the clubhouse?
That's the crazy thing. I've played on some teams that had rough seasons, but I've never been on a team that has played as hard as we do on a daily basis and had such a good group of guys in the clubhouse. Nobody's really gotten down. There hasn't been any dissension. Nobody's pointing fingers. Even though that you could be pointing at our offense a little bit for some of these, losses, the pitchers, they haven't backed down a bit. They've gone out and done their job and kept us in ball games when they needed to. Not that we're having a blast, but we're definitely making the best of our situation down there.
You're going to have fun when you come to the ballpark. Winning or losing. Millsy helps, doesn't he? Milsy's got,
Millsy,
from my point of view, it just seems to be really good down there.
Yeah, Brad and his staff, he's got a good staff down there. It was great with Sean Berry here, too. He had a great demeanor about himself, and Arrow had a good rapport with him as far as working and stuff. But with the addition of Jeff Bagwell and, having Meacham and Arnie's been great. Brad Arnsberg's been great with the pitchers. Talking to those guys, they love working with him. He's got a great personality to relax and work with and get things done.
"69 pitches for Roy, 43 have been strikes, trailing 6-0. Keppinger backhands for the out. And it's no runs to hit and a man left. 6-0 Reds in the fifth.
the bottom of the 5th. Kids Free All Summer, presented by Minute Maid, is back this summer. For every full-price adult ticket you purchase in the outfield or view deck sections, you can get up to 2 free tickets for kids 14 and under. Kids can also earn rewards for coming to Astros games with the Kids Passport program. Go to Astros.com to get those tickets. Brownie, back to you.
Thank you very much, Bart. Jeff Keppinger leads it off. Home 5th inning, 6-0. Johnny Cueto and the Reds with the lead. We saw the shot of the kids. You're a family guy, Blummer. You really mingle well, too, with the kids when they come out. And that's a part of the job, but a pleasant job of a player. And we see the Astros players have always been so good about that over the years, spending time with the fans. And you're pretty big on that, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I mean, luckily the PR department has approached me quite often to go out and do some stuff in the community, go out and visit with some kids at the local schools and stuff like that, and talk to them about staying in school and all that kind of fun stuff. And then, the Go Green campaign that they got going is a pretty good deal, going out and, building houses, planting trees and things like that. So they do a good job of getting us into the community and offering our services off the field, which is good for us and good for the community.
Bud Norris looked pretty good last night. What did you think?
I thought he looked great. I still think that, when runners get on base, he gets a little quick sometimes and could still slow it down. He's in control of the game. He's got great stuff. He's working that changeup in, which I saw last night. He was throwing quite a bit, which was nice. Even the right-handed hitters, which I think is a pretty good pitch. And showed pretty good command with it. So, I mean, as long as he's making adjustments and moving forward instead of taking a couple steps back here and there, I think it'll be great. But he's got some guys to talk to down there in the dugout that I think if he really went out and took a little more advantage of, he'd be better for it.
Who was your mentor when you came up to the Expos? Anybody in particular?
The guy that I spent most of my time talking to, obviously I came up with Jose Vidro, Cabrera, the Michael Barretts, and Brad Fulmer was there at the time, Vladimir Guerrero. But the guy that I got most acquainted with and learned a lot from was Mike Mordecai. He was one of the utility guys at the time, and when Cabrera came back healthy and I was put on the bench to do the utility thing, I had a lot of time to sit there and talk to Mike about how to play the game, what it was like coming off the bench, how to handle myself, moving from position to position, and seeing different pitchers and how to study some of these guys and having a good approach coming off the bench.
I think the first time we saw him, you might have been playing left field. You played some left field there, right?
That is true, yeah. It was actually that first year in '99 when I came up, I was playing shortstop every day, and then the next year they asked me if I could play other positions, and being a somewhat young and having a chance to make a big league ball club, I of course answered yes, having no experience at third base, left field, or first base.
I can do that.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I figured everything worked pretty good off of short, so they took a chance on me and put me on a ball club, and I played some outfield in spring training and convinced them to put me on the roster. And I did. I think when you guys came through Montreal, I was actually coming in middle late in the games playing some left field, which is not fun for me.
You didn't like it out there?
Oh, man, put that ball on the ground. If that thing gets up in the air, I get a little sketchy sometimes. Tough to read those angles out in the outfield, especially when you're playing the corners and the ball's slicing and going in places where I don't know, and fences are coming into play. It's not good.
Olympic Stadium could be very difficult.
Oh, man. Yeah, especially CJ.
Into left center, CJ smacked that line drive, and Astros get only hit number 2 of the night.
Yeah, he's swinging the bat really well.
You had that deep shadow that could creep across Olympic Stadium sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, there were portals coming through. There were holes in the roof. The roof even came into play when you were playing in Montreal. I remember I caught a Sammy Sosa fly ball that was going to center field and hit one of the dimples in the roof and fired back to left field and caught me off guard, but luckily I made the play.
But you had Yuppie.
Oh, Yuppie, yeah. And a lot of those horns from the World Cup brought back a lot of fond memories.
Right, the Vuvuzela, that was right. Montreal. And then slamming the chair seats was the other deal they used to do up there.
Oh, man, yeah. It was deafening with all 3,000 people there at every game. Yeah, some interesting times up in Montreal.
Well, you guys were talking about '94. If that season had played out, who knows?
Yeah, I talk to Sean Berry about that all the time. he was playing third base, I think, on that ball club, and I mean, they were going to set the record, I think, for their franchise wins.
Let's throw the drive to center. 2 outs. AT&T has some trivia, and Jeff Blum will know the answer to this one. Roy Oswalt's 143 wins are the third most for Mississippi-born pitchers. 2 are first and second. We've had this before.
Yeah, we were talking about this because I bumped into Roy last year, I guess, leaving the ballpark one day. We got chatting, and I was talking to him about how long he wanted to play and if he had any goals. And he said, the one thing I want to do is I want to become the winningest pitcher ever from Mississippi. So, really? And so I have to recuse myself from this one because I remember looking it up.
Pedro Feliz pinch hitting for Roy, hits a fly ball to center. Nelson Figueroa warming up. That's out number 3. No runs, a hit. A man left through 5. Reds 6. Astros nothing. Ramon Hernandez with a shot off the wall and right. He's doing the swim as he tries to make it a double, but there's a good play by Sanchez, sticking his nose in there on the tag. And he breaks the tape, but he finishes second in this race. I'm not sure what that was all about, Bummer.
Oh, man, there was way too many things happening on that play.
I think he was surprised that there was going to be a play made on it. I think he thought he was just going to kind of cruise into second base, and then he started to break down.
Yeah, you put your head down and react off the fielder a little bit.
And even if he keeps his balance, there's no way he's going to stop. He's going to run through the bag and just tag him on the other side.
Verizon Wireless brings in Nelson Figueroa out of the Astros bullpen. Oswalt 5 innings, 9 hits, 6 runs allowed, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. Figueroa did a nice job last night. He's 2-1 this season.
Well, Figueroa showing a real good breaking pitch last night. He's 36 years of age. He's been around a good long while. Not all of them in the big leagues. Kind of, a little bit here, a little bit there, up and down, then out, and back in.
Came in last night with runners at second and third, and nobody out. Gave up a sac fly, but he got all 3 hitters in order in his Astros debut. This fly ball heads for right. Number 10's turning. AT&T had trivia about Mississippi pitchers. Let's see. Guy Bush was one of them.
Yeah, he is.
Okay, who else?
Claude Passot.
Oh, yeah.
That's impressive, JD. Way to go.
Of course
it is. Everybody knows that.
Everybody remembers Claude Passot.
Claude from Mississippi.
Yeah.
Sounds like one of your former Expo teammates, Blummer.
Claude Raymond.
Raymond, yeah, believe it.
Did you pick up a little French when you were there?
Just one word in particular, and I heard it quite a bit. I mean, I could probably repeat it down here in Houston, but somebody in Montreal would pick up on it. It wouldn't be good.
Ramon Hernandez has a homer and an RBI single, and there's the curveball from Figueroa.
Bill Can Boyd's a Mississippi guy, right? I mean, that's the guy that in recent vintage you think about, aside from Roy. The Can, he was a beauty. Pretty good pitcher, too.
Got a question for you. Vicente Padilla throws that really slow, like an ephus type pitch. You think more guys should throw that pitch? It just seems to be something you hardly ever see.
Yeah, I don't think you should see it too often. I know that, we're all, some of these pitchers get out there and they try and trick the game a little bit. We like to call it skit pitching. That might be the local lingo in the dugout that we call it. He's got his own skit or he's
improv.
Yeah, but I don't know how effective it is, but I'm not a big fan of it. He's got a good enough stuff that he doesn't need to go out and do that, but maybe he needs a little more attention, so he's got to fire it out there.
Hold out to second for Keppinger.
Now, when we play contrarian, I do think there are guys whose stuff is so short that's how you can kind of stay in the game. What happens with players is they lose their fastball, they start to get hit, and if they don't make that adjustment, they're going to be done. And I don't know if an ephus pitch is the right way. I remember Bob Walk used to throw a little bit of an ephus pitch. Just, your velocity goes from 89, 90 to 86 all of a sudden. You're not a guy with great movement. You got to drop an arm angle, do something crazy. But you're right, a guy with good stuff, you don't really need to trick it up too much. You're just asking for trouble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, if things are starting to slack off a little bit and you can make an adjustment, go for it.
A little load here, a little scuff there, whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. Believe it, yeah.
All the way by Giannis. He's 0 for 2, and he's 0 and 2 in the count. You have so many different teammates during the course of a season. It's just amazing the change that you have in the clubhouse during any given year, isn't it?
It's incredible. Yeah, I know that. I don't know what the average is on an every year basis, but there's got to be at least 30 or 40 moves made every year that makes up a clubhouse. So it's a GM's job half the time is trying to find the right guys to fill the holes on the field. Then you got to make sure you got the right fit in the clubhouse, because sometimes that chemistry can, if it gets bad, it can overflow onto the field and not be too good.
Figueroa gets a strikeout and has a 1-2-3 sixth inning. Reds 6, Astros nothing. Cueto is breezing, having allowed just 2 hits so far through 5. trying to beat the Astros for the first time, and he's shooting for win number 10. And Jeff Blum joining us on this Saturday night. Your family's in town. Your family made the road trip. Great time for you guys to do a little bonding, Blummer.
Yeah, you can't. Anytime the trip to Chicago's on the schedule, it's definitely going to be a trip where the wife and 4 girls are going to make it, because American Girl is directly across the street, and that's a huge attraction for them.
Good point.
And while I'm at it, I'm going to say hello and I love you to Mia, Ava, Audrey, and Kayla, who are down in the phone room right now.
Johnny Cueto throws and just nips Michael Bourne around the middle.
Yeah, the girls were great. Coming off the plane the other day, carrying their little carry-on bags. They look like ducklings, kind of.
They look like maybe an infield hit, but the pitcher handled it cleanly and took his time.
Well, we were hoping that maybe Cueto would be affected by this illness, but apparently he's just fine. Man, that was close.
It was close. Yeah, there's only a couple things in sports you'd really like to do, like catch a touchdown pass or a slam dunk in an NBA game. I'd like to be fast one day.
Yeah, fast would be good.
I mean, that's got to be such a luxury for Michael to have in his back pocket, to be able to put that much pressure on the defense every time he's at the plate.
Well, if you could get 30 infield hits a year, just think of what that could do for your average.
I mean, I'd easily go from 220 to 250.
To the right center field, and Jay Bruce comes over, 2 down. Now Lance Berkman. Now, everybody thinking so wistfully right now, coming upon the trade deadline, about Roy and Lance having been with this club. And for all we know, they might be with this club August 1st, but that's a lot of years of service these two guys have put in, Blummer.
Well, it's unprecedented these days. To spend that much time with the free agent markets, and they actually haven't been able to have an organization that can retain guys that are this good for that long. It's a testament to these guys making a sacrifice. Maybe they would have been able to get more money on the free agent market, but they obviously enjoyed it here in Houston and wanted to come back. And Drayton and the particular GMs at the time, they felt them worthy to be here and worked it out. So I think it's a great thing for the city, the ball club, and for the player. Because I've been traded 3 times and played for 5 different teams, and it's packing up your stuff and moving every once in a while is not fun.
No. Fastball foul back, 1-2. So when do you think we could see you back in an Astros game? Earliest date?
1 week they said I should be game ready, barring any setback, and I think go down to Round Rock or Corpus Christi or whatever's convenient for one of those ball clubs. Get 2 games in down there and shoot back.
Great.
Get back on this ball club and hopefully finish out the season strong.
2-2.
Being on the DL is not very fun.
Oh, it's got to be the most boring thing going.
Watching these guys play as hard as they do and not being able to be side by side with them is a little annoying.
3-2.
She's got such a good eye.
He does. It's amazing.
Yeah, and then the thing that I've always marveled at with Lance over the years is he gives away so few at bats. Even in a 6-0 game, some guys might get a little wild here and take big swings. He generally does not do that.
And you can't. I mean, that's one of those things that you cannot teach.
Cueto gets a strikeout. Jeff Blum, thanks so much for joining us on this Saturday night.
No, thanks for having me, boys.
Hope to see you back soon.
Yeah. You guys take care.
All right, Blummer. Thanks.
6-0 Reds. the first. The Reds were off and running. Roy Oswalt allowing 9 hits and 6 earned runs in 5 innings. Johnny Cueto has shut out the Astros for 6. We go to the 7th inning now, and it's Cueto leading it off. And Figueroa throwing strike 1. Cueto's 0 for 2. Chacin warming up for the Astros. Thanks to Jeff Blum for joining us. He's got broadcasting in his future if he wants to pursue it. No balls, 2 strikes. Good Saturday night crowd enjoying it. Our best wishes go out to Willie Berry.
What's going on with Willie?
Well, he's in the hospital.
Oh, I did not know that.
For some tests at Memorial Hermann, and certainly hope that everything is well with him, and he'll be back very soon.
Well, he's been with the grounds crew here for, what? 40 yeah.
years. Going back to Astrodome days, I think it was the very beginning. 2-2. And Sean Berry was saying about 3-4 weeks ago about Willie Berry, all you have to do is mention something once to him about Willie. That protective screen the pitcher uses for BP. Well, the netting has come loose, and he's got it welded and ready to go the next day. Foul tip and a strikeout. That's number 2 for Figueroa. That's 4 straight for Nelson. Now Brandon Phillips, J.R. Tolles is going to have right thumb surgery on Monday with Dr. Tom Melhoff. And that probably means he won't play again this year. Just guessing. He injured his thumb some time ago. Jeff Fulcino will go out on a rehab assignment to the minor leagues on Monday. But Brian Moeller not ready to go yet. He needs more time, so Wesley Wright will get another start in the Cubs series. Strike 1 to Phillips. And the Lexington manager of the Astros Class A affiliate there, Rodney Linares, has taken a leave of absence, so Danny Schaefer will take over as the manager and the roving catching instructor. Brandon Phillips, no balls, 2 strikes.
Phillips 0 for 3 today. His struggles continue. He's been in a pretty good funk of late. 2, 3, 4 hitters. An absolute dynamite for the Reds this evening. Can't really solve those guys. Reds with a chance to move back into first place with a win this evening. The Cardinals were beat by the Cubs 6-5 this afternoon at Wrigley.
Tom Gorzolani beat them. Blake Hawksworth was the loser. Carlos Marmol got his 18th save. Tyler Colvin hit his 15th home run.
Castro kid had a big day too.
He hit home run number 3, and in that game he was 3 for 4. Scored 2 and drove in 2. Cubs will be here Monday night. It'll be Wesley Wright and Carlos Silva up the right field line, and Brandon Phillips.
I spoke too soon.
Yeah. He's 1 for 4 now with a 1-out single. He's aboard for Cabrera, who is 3 for 3. So just thinking about possible moves the Reds and Cardinals could make. There could be a major momentum shift in this division depending on the trade acquisitions each club might make.
And it's not a real deep market for pitchers at the trade deadline.
Keppinger with a flip to Sanchez. 4-6-3 double play. We'll get into that more a little bit in the bottom of the 7th inning with the score 6-0 Reds. Singing of deep in the heart of Texas. Hunter Pence will be leading it off here in the bottom of the 7th inning with the Astros trailing the Reds 6-0. Hunter was joined by his teammates Tommy Manzella, Jason Castro, and Chris Johnson today at the Texas Italian American Sports Foundation luncheon, and they were handing out scholarship checks to the youngsters. Good time for all. Hunter Pence 0 for 2 in this game. And you strike one for Johnny Cueto.
Cueto seeing the Astro hitters for the 3rd time now, starting to mix in more breaking balls, really pounding that fastball earlier in the game. Has been in no trouble whatsoever.
It's quite a young rotation the Reds have right now. Aaron Harang is on the DL. Bronson Arroyo gives them some experience, certainly, but they have talented arms.
Cueto, 24 years of age, but in his 3rd year in the league now, so he's pretty well established.
Travis Wood is 23. Mike Leake 22. He goes tomorrow.
Leake pitching like he's 32.
Yeah.
Just a seamless transition to Major League Baseball. Right out of college last year.
An amazing story this season. Bouncer up the middle and into center field. Hovey's 1 for 3. After getting 4 hits last night, he's the 3rd Astro this season to get 4 hits. And now it's tougher to come by in this game. That's only the 3rd hit by the Astros as a team.
That's the key, though, when you're up against a tough guy like Cueto. Just hang in there and, try to get a base hit. Have some positive at-bats and keep things rolling in the right direction after that big night last night. You don't want to come out here and get shackled this evening.
There's a board for Carlos Lees. Grounded out twice. There's ball 1 to Carlos. According to reports, the Reds took a run at Cliff Lee before he was traded to Texas. And other reports have them drawing a bead on Fausto Carmona of Cleveland. Fly ball to center field. That's out number 1. We go to Bart.
Yeah, Brownie, want to remind Astros fans they have a chance to meet Jeff Keppinger and become the ultimate Whataburger Whata fan. Come out next Tuesday for an autograph session with Jeff at the Whataburger listed here. It's between 11 and noon. While there, you can sign up to be the ultimate Whataburger Whata fan and have a chance to win 2 sweet tickets for the Astros and Cubs game on October 2nd and Whataburgers for a year. Plus, be on the field for batting practice and throw out the first pitch. Don't miss the chance to meet Jeff Keppinger at Whataburger. That's all really great, Brownie, but Whataburgers for a year? Oh, you got to be kidding me.
All over that.
Well, let's see. You would probably go for the Whata chicken, wouldn't you, Bart? You're pretty healthy.
I would pretty much go for Whata anything.
Okay.
Yeah, with cheese.
Jeff Keppinger fouls it.
You got to throw the cheese on there.
Oh, no. Extra cheese.
Keppinger 0 for 2 in this game. They're happy. Yeah, the Reds apparently like the contract status of the Indians right-hander Fausto Carmona. He's under contract on a multi-year deal, I believe 3-year deal.
Yeah, he's due to make $6.1 million next year, and then has 3 club options after that. So that gives the club a lot of flexibility if they were to acquire him, which makes me wonder why they need to trade him.
Yeah.
He's not making capital money. I don't know what the options are, though.
2-2 the count.
Ben Sheets just went on the disabled list, so the idea that Ben's going to get traded at the trade deadline, not likely.
Dan Herron is drawing interest, according to reports from the New York Yankees. Arizona has a new general manager, Jerry DiPoto. Cabrera, quick throw to second. Brandon Phillips out at first. Didn't look like they would get him. He didn't have a lot on the throw, but did turn the double play. That's the 92nd of the year for the Reds, and they lead at 6-0. Had 2 blasts in this game. Joey Votto hit one in the first inning. And not exactly a tape measure shot, but he found the Landry's Crawford boxes for a 2-0 Reds lead in the first. Then Ramon Hernandez hit one in the second inning. They lead at 6-0, and Gustavo Chacin is pitcher number 3. Nice job by Nelson Figueroa. 2 scoreless innings, allowing 1 hit, striking out 2, facing only 6.
Chacin comes in for the 25th time. He's 1-1, 5.18 ERA. Lefty, lefty, lefty due up here for the Reds. So Brad Mills goes to his pen for one of his 2 left-handers out there. Tim Burdack worked last night. Chacin this year yielding a 300 batting average to left-handed hitters. He close to 40 against him.
Votto fouls it away. There's strike 1. He's 2 for 3 in this game. Florida leads Atlanta 4-2. They played 5.5 at Florida. Martin Prado hit his 13th home run for the Braves. And Ugla belted number 18 for the Fish. His name has been circulating in trade rumors. A lot of names are out there. No balls, 2 strikes.
The guy I keep hearing that is a slam dunk will be traded is Ted Lilly.
Supposedly the Mets are very interested in him right now. They already have 2 lefties in their rotation. Ground ball rolling out to second. Keppinger on to first. A couple of names will not be circulating, though, as far as trade rumors go now, because a couple of outfielders got hurt in recent days. Corey Hart of Milwaukee and the Kansas City outfielder David DeJesus. Both were thought to be highly sought after outfielders. In fact, the Giants have been shopping around for outfield help. Lance Nix has a pair of doubles he's driven into, and he's also drawn a walk.
Giants playing pretty good baseball.
Yeah, they are.
8-2 in their last 10. Buster Posey has really invigorated that offense out there.
It's been interesting that they traded Benji Molina and moved Posey behind the plate. You're right, he is just ripping. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
I'll be comparing him to Will Clark, Will the Thrill, when he broke in as a rookie.
What a splash he made against the Astros. Interesting point, though, because Chris Spire, who was with the Giants, was talking last night before the game about the 1987 season. And he said Al Rosen, who was the general manager of the Giants, made about 4 key acquisitions on the trade market. And he said that just energizes the entire clubhouse when that happens. And the Giants were a playoff team that year.
They got beat by the Cardinals in the LCS.
And it's a good point. You know, let's say, for instance, the Cardinals make a deal and get a frontline starter, and the Reds don't. A lot of people will be drawing assumptions from that. And the players can get a burst in that clubhouse when they do bring in a really good player. There's a single by Nix, and he continues to really be on fire. He is 3 for 3 with a walk in this game. Jay Bruce is 0 for 3 tonight. The Astros dealt for Randy Johnson, a trade deadline deal, 98. They were already in good shape. That deal was primarily to try to get to a World Series, and they lost in the first round of the playoffs.
And they gave up a lot to get him, but you know, you get so many opportunities in this game to win, and most GMs will tell you got to go for it. And to get a guy like Randy Johnson, you have to give up some pretty good talent. And Randy delivered. My goodness, was that fun.
He did. Well, those were special days the last couple of months of that season. Best win total this organization has ever had, 98, 102 wins. Up the middle and into center field for Bruce.
That's why the Astros find themselves in a very peculiar situation this year, having kind of been on a slide now since the 05 season, and contemplating, at least for the first time, kind of going into selling mode with some of their veterans, something they really haven't done at all in the last decade plus. They traded Doug Henry. I don't remember the year, but that's the one that I can recall where they traded a veteran for a younger player or a minor league prospect type guy.
2000. The miserable first half that year. So they were out of the race, but in the second half they got things going. Drew Stubbs is 0 for 3.
That's not like Doug was a franchise type player. Like that.
True. In '99, both these clubs went down to the wire for a playoff spot. The Astros winning that final game at the Astrodome. And the Reds falling short that year. It's been a while. The Reds winning the division in '95. They've had a long drought. No balls, 2 strikes, and obviously with their owner being anxious to return to that playoff stature, there is a certain amount of pressure, one would think, on general manager Walt Jocketty to try to improve this Cincinnati club if possible. Bob Castellini, the owner.
Well, if I was in the Cincinnati Reds right now, my primary concern might be Scott Rowland.
Yeah. One safe at first. Keppinger got it to Sanchez for the forced play on Bruce, but Stubbs beat the relay.
I may be all wet. Scott may be fine, but he's been out of the lineup for a while with that hamstring issue, and he's been so good. And they're getting nice coverage now. Miguel Carver's playing well. Tonight they got Paul Janisch out there, and Janisch can certainly pick it. But, if Rowland were to be down for a long time, that's a lot of production to make up.
It is. Rowland's having the best year he's had in a while. 287 average, 17 homers, 57 runs batted in, 542 slugging percentage. Ramon Hernandez has a homer and an RBI single tonight. He had been on the disabled list with a left knee injury. Just came off last night, but didn't start, so this is his return, and he's made it a good one. Strike 2, Hernandez. Reds have a promising young catcher at AA, Devin Mesoraco. And he's hit 20 home runs for Class AA Carolina. 53 runs batted in. He might be a prospect they would be willing to dangle out there in any trade talks. Top to third base, a 2-hopper. Johnson throws across to Berkman for the out on Hernandez. And it's no runs, 2 hits, a couple of men left, middle of the 8th inning, 6-0 Cincinnati. Buckaloo Chevrolet for their support of the Conroe Area Little League. For more information and Chevy's commitment to youth baseball league programs, visit ChevyTexasBaseball.com. Little League youngsters at the ballpark tonight. They have watched Johnny Cueto of the Reds shut out the Astros through 7, 6-0. He's allowed only 3 hits. The Astros have had 4 base runners, and none of them have been able to advance since reaching base. Cueto airing it out tonight. He'll face the 7, 8, 9 hitters for the Astros here in the 8th inning. He has 1 complete game shutout this season. 100 pitches so far in this game.
And nobody has reached third base. Only 1 man in scoring position for the Astros tonight. That's Angel Sanchez after his leadoff double in the 4th.
Chris Johnson, the batter. He's 1 for 2. Ball 1 to Johnson. Reds have had the Astros number this year. They've won 8 of their last 9. In fact, at Minute Maid Park going back to last year. Johnson bangs a single through the left side. Hit number 4 for the Astros.
Qualifies him as player of the game for the Astros. Base hit to center on a slider last time up, so Cueto says, well, I'm not going to throw another slider. I'll try the heater. And CJ, he was all over it. He was wise to that thinking.
Jason Castro is 0 for 2. He's at the plate. And Jason Bourgeois is on deck with a pitcher spot due up next. Castro hit the ball pretty well on the ground back in the 3rd inning, but Phillips threw him out. Jason was talking tonight about this learning experience he's having as a major leaguer, and he did not play in the game last night. That doesn't mean he didn't go over a lot of video and prepare. It's all part of what catchers go through, and for him now, the first time around the league, it's a chance to soak in a lot of this available information. Jordan Smith is warming up for the Reds, but there is a ton of learning ahead for a young catcher.
Yeah, that's why you'd like to be able to pair young catchers with veteran pitchers, or a veteran catcher with young pitchers. But the good thing about Jason Castro, he's a pretty sharp guy, so I think he's going to figure it out in a hurry.
Broken bat roller to second. Phillips gets the nope. He doesn't get the force plate. It's dropped by Cabrera at second base. That gives the Astros an opening. First and second, nobody out.
Yeah, Cabrera there probably a little careless, trying to be quick to turn this double play. They got a big lead. Just make sure you get it out. But in his haste, couldn't handle the feed. E6, fielder's choice for Castro, and the Astros have their first threat of the evening.
Castro running it out. Phillips was quick, but then Cabrera drew his 10th error of the year. And it's the pinch hitter Jason Bourgeois batting now for Chacin. And ruled an error, and then Castro reaching on the fielder's choice. Strike 1 to Bourgeois. Bourgeois, a .222 hitter, has 8 hits and 36 at bats for the Astros. He's 2 for 5 pinch hitting. Fouls that one away, and it's no balls, 2 strikes. Gustavo Chacin in 1 inning allowed 2 hits, no runs. He had no walks, no strikeouts.
And mostly a power game from Johnny Cueto tonight. Fastball, hard slider, not too much in terms of an off-speed pitch.
One and 2 to Jason. Michael Bourne on deck. Two balls, 2 strikes. Minnesota leads 4-2 at Baltimore. They've played 6. Down down with his 12th homer for the Twins. Luke Scott, number 16 for Baltimore.
He's been on fire lately. He's a very streaky hitter.
Yep.
Probably throwing him that low fastball.
Yeah. He's got the swing to hit that pitch. Popped up. Phillips calling, infield fly in effect, and it's called. 2 outs.
You're chuckling about Jay Bruce, aren't you?
Yep.
He's not going to get caught, not coming all the way in again. Last night, the ball a little deeper than that. Brandon Phillips made a catch out there, and Hunter Pence tagged at third base and scored, and it's a ball that Bruce should have handled. He should have run Phillips off the play, and then he would have been in much better position to make the throw home. So obviously Bruce has learned his lesson.
That was out number 1, not number 2, as I said. Michael Bourne takes a strike.
John Maine is done for the year.
Uh-oh.
He had season-ending arthroscopic surgery on his shoulder, so the Mets are without John Maine for the remainder.
Well, they have just been cratering lately, too. And they have said that their manager is not in any hot water. Chris Johnson led off with a single, advanced on a Castro grounder, and the error by Cabrera.
We've seen that vote of confidence, though, before. Not necessarily with that current administration in New York, but I just mean in baseball in general. The vote of confidence followed by the firing about a week later.
True. 1-2 to Michael Bourne. And he fouls that back. Cueto at 114 pitches now. Bill Bray, the lefty, has joined Jordan Smith in the Reds bullpen. Cueto was 4-0 in May with a 1.59 ERA. Coming off a win against Washington. Misses there.
Struggled in June and back on track here in July. As I mentioned at the start of the ball game, 3-1, 1.16 ERA over his last 6 games. You have to go back to the middle of June to find a game where he allowed more than 2 earned runs.
He's had 10 quality starts this year.
There's a good changeup.
Warren was able to lay off, and now he has worked a full count.
He has a tendency to drop his elbow a little bit, and I think that will show the changeup a little bit. Hitters will recognize if it gets on top. Comes over the top a little bit more of that changeup. It's a tougher pitch to recognize.
Strike 3 call. 2 outs. 6 pitches.
It's just a real nice job. If you think back to Michael's second at bat tonight, he was rung up on a 3-2 fastball down at the bottom of the knees. I'm sure Cueto's saying, all right, he's probably looking for that fastball again, and he throws a little backdoor breaking ball.
Strikeout number 6. Michael Bourne has struck out 72 times this year. Angel Sanchez has a double in 3 trips. Ball 1 to Sanchez. This is a 9-game homestand for the Astros. They are 1-6 against Cincinnati. 1 ball, 1 strike. Lance Berkman on deck. The Astros need some traffic here. Try to get Cueto out of the game, get into the Reds bullpen. Dave Clark would love to have a customer there at third for the first time tonight. Reds have outscored the Astros by a bunch in the season series, 55-22. One and two.
One more off-speed pitches now. Getting a little creative out there.
Yeah, he sure is.
This is his high pitch count game for the year. So much for being sick.
The Reds are putting the pedal to the metal, as they say, in this tight NL Central race. Tap to third. And the throw by Yanish takes care of Sanchez. No runs. 1 hit, 1 error, 2 left through 8. It's 6-0 Reds. for the Astros. It's a different view from out in the outfield as the toss goes from Sanchez to Keppinger to Berkman. And now a ground ball to second. Keppinger feeding Sanchez and on to Berkman. As the Astros have had a couple double plays in the 5th and 7th innings tonight.
Yeah, there has not been much to get excited about from the Astros this evening. The Reds put 6 runs on the board through the first 3 innings, including Roy Oswalt tonight. And there's been a bunch of zeros for both clubs since then. Jason Bourgeois is going to check in at second base after pinch hitting. Chris Sampson's going to pitch.
Jason Bourgeois said about a week ago he hadn't played second in a game in 4 years. Sampson 1-0 with a 5.83 ERA. But it's really not a bad thought at all at this point. Get him in there a little bit. Might be needed. And the more versatile he is, the more the Astros can use their players in different ways. Jeff Keppinger's been grinding it for a long time now. So it gives him an inning off. Yanis 0 for 3 in this game. Fly ball, and it goes to Michael Bourne. One down, and it's Chris Heisey now pinch hitting for Johnny Cueto.
Now, this may even be a precursor to a start out there tomorrow for Bourgeois at second base. Maybe Millsy thinking about giving Keppinger a day off.
Kep has really been pushing it hard for a while now, so that might be a thought.
Of course, Anderson Hernandez now with the ball club.
Yeah, he's a switch hitter.
Yeah, I would think that if Brad were to give Keppinger a day off, maybe Hernandez would be the guy to get the start.
Johnny Cueto, for a guy who had tonsillitis, pitched pretty doggone well tonight.
Yeah, good thing he wasn't healthy. He might have thrown a no-hitter.
Sampson delivers ball 2 to Heisey.
He's got good numbers.
He does. 73 at bats, 288 average, 6 for 16 pinch hitting with 3 pinch homers for Heisey.
Pretty good idea what he's doing in the batter's box, and just Johnny Gomes has been so good this year.
He certainly has.
Tough for Heisey to find playing time.
Swing and a miss there makes it a 2-ball 2-strike count for Chris Sampson. Chris probably really enjoys wearing these retro uniforms. He grew up in this area. He's followed this club his whole life.
My old uni right there, 43.
Good looking.
Yeah, Sampson. Well, same result too.
Heisey hits another pinch homer, his 4th of the season. Don't get too good at that job. He is 7 for 17 as a pinch hitter, and the Reds have to load up under. It's 7-0 as the Reds get their 3rd long ball of the night.
Well, he's got the 2nd highest slugging percentage on their club behind Joey Votto. His OPS also 2nd best to Votto. Swing there, sets the hands real high as the pitch is being delivered, then he drops him down into a slot there and turns it loose.
Homer number 6 for Heisey. 3 long balls for the Reds tonight. They're 2nd in the league. They have 119.
A problem for Chris this year, the home run ball.
He's now given up 7 in 30 innings. Goes foul. No balls, 2 strikes. Well, the Reds have a solid lineup. Several guys over 30 runs batted in to this point. Phillips has scored 70. Votto scored 65 coming into this game. So not necessarily too many outs that a pitcher can take for granted in this lineup. There's a hit through the middle. Phillips now 2 for 5 in this game.
Visit the official online shop of the Astros at astros.com. Browse the largest selection of official gear, including the latest apparel, memorabilia, authentic classics for the entire family. The astros.com shop, except no substitutes.
Runner at first, one out. Here's Cabrera. Cabrera's 3 for 4. Berkman playing behind the runner, Phillips, and it's strike one call.
Padres 4, Pirates 2, middle of the 7th in Pittsburgh. Young and Tabata have gone deep for Pittsburgh. Nats 2, Brewers 2.
Hot shot backhanded. Johnson to second, and there's the turn by Bourgeois. Nice nifty double play with Jason Bourgeois, the middleman. And it's 1 run, 2 hits. The Astros get their 3rd double play of the night. Bourgeois versatile from the outfield to the infield. 7-0 Cincinnati. Baseball on Fox Sports Houston is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers and the 2010 F-150 and by the Progressive Insurance Group. Well, in Roy Oswalt's 11 losses this year, the Astros have scored 10 runs while he's been in the game. And that trend unfortunately continued tonight. Now with 5 innings tonight during his 69 innings in the losses. They've managed only 10 runs. Now Jordan Smith comes in. Smith is 2-2 with a 3.24 ERA.
8 solid innings from Johnny Cueto tonight, allowing just 4 hits, no runs. Smith works for the 14th time. He's got solid numbers, just 16 2/3 innings of work here at the big league level. Ooh, see, Maglior Ordonez broke his ankle.
No.
Out 6 to 8 weeks.
Ooh. Without the emergency call for a deal. Lance Berkman 0 for 2 with a walk. Followed by Penson Lee here in the Astros 9th. The Astros have been blanked 10 times this year. Up the middle, and there's Cabrera plugging that hole. Turning it into out number 1. Well, times have really changed with Berkman. He was hitting .217 against the Reds this season. And Oswalt hasn't beaten him this year, so 2 guys have really dominated this Reds club. And finding it very hard to duplicate those numbers this season against this revitalized Cincinnati team.
That kind of symbolizes the turn, you know, the Astros kind of scuffling here the last couple of years. And the Reds, a team that a lot of people have been talking about for 2 or 3 years as being on the rise, and it hasn't really materialized until this year.
24-year-old Jordan Smith from American Fork, Utah. There's a strike. No balls, 2 strikes. He's a 6th round pick in 06.
I know what the genesis of that name is. American Fork, Utah.
Yeah, that'd be a good one to find out.
Now we got nothing better to do.
He went to Southern Nevada Community College. He's listed at 6'4" and 220. Hunter Pence takes the ball, and it's 1-2 to Hunter.
It's at the foot of Mount Timpanogos in the Wasatch Range north of Utah Lake. Population 21,000 in the 2000 census. People from there throw good sinkers. That was a pretty good one there.
Yeah, if you grow up in American Fork, you're going to be a good sinker baller.
The Yogi line from the Fork in the Road, take it.
Yeah. That was it. A lot of great Yogi lines, many of which he did not say. Is that the home of the fork ball? American Fork? Toward the left field corner.
I tried, Hunter.
Trying your best to avert a shutout. That's 2 outs now as Cueto has checked in with his 8 innings and 4-hit shutout ball with 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. He's in line for win number 10. Ironically, the hard-hitting Reds, who lead the league in runs scored, have been shut out more than the Astros, 11-10.
Go figure.
Who could do that? Carlos Lee, 0 for 3 tonight. There's ball 1. Scott Rowland sitting out again with that hamstring injury. There's a likelihood we won't see him tomorrow either with the day game coming. Fly ball to right. And the Reds have waltzed into Minute Maid Park, and they have won their 5th consecutive game this season in this ballpark. They've now won 9 of their last 10 here in Houston. And overall, they have taken 16 of their last 18 meetings with the Astros. Johnny Cueto goes to 10-2, beating Roy Oswalt to 6-12 final. Cincinnati 7, Houston 0.